All right, what up, YouTube? Listen up. Like I was saying, I've been wanting to get this video out, but just what I was saying, this Wi-Fi ain't been strong enough, so I'm gonna just keep an eye on it, make sure it ain't going out no more. I don't know if it even went out in the first place, but either way though, like I was saying, if y'all were just watching me, but a while ago, somebody died, and I forgot who it was, but the media used to always kind of slander this person, slander their name and all that. But after they died, the media started trying to talk about, how great they was and all this and all that. So one thing led to another. I looked up. I was trying to look up old newspapers because I wanted to see, like, because I know the media do stuff like this. So I was trying to see, like, because you kind of know how they used to talk about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and they was alive. But I wanted to see, like, like what was the newspaper saying about them when they died and all that. And one thing led to another. I found a few of them old newspapers, but what it took me to was like a whole little different website of like all these old different newspapers. And so, of course, with me studying all, the Black history and everything I do pertaining to just not just how I can connect it to the Bible, showing who we are, but just just studying our history in general and all that. Of course, I took advantage of the opportunity or whatever. And I think I want to show y'all some, but I'm gonna actually have to read it on the laptop because I got this phone, but it ain't fast enough for me to be sitting up here trying to switch between tab and show y'all what I'm trying to look at. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this description and this link in the description. But I was reading something and it's interesting because, like I said, there's something on my. If y'all follow me on my Twitter, it was something I was saying. I ain't gonna say her name, but about this person, she was talking about it was a net positive for what happened with our people, with all that stuff they was doing and all that. But either way, one thing led to another. Like I was looking up these old newspapers. I found this one, and it's from April 29th, 1846. And let me see who made it. It says it's by the Green Mountain Freeman. But like I said, I'm gonna post a link in the description either way. But the title of it is Incidents of Slavery. All right, and let me see. I'm gonna just go ahead and read up to this point. And it says, up to this time, I had not been able to comprehend that the fine looking, intelligent, and well dressed men and women of color that I saw about me were chattels, the subjects of trade and barter, like my horse or my cow, but a public sale of slaves enabled me to comprehend the painful reality. A B had died, leaving certain debts to be paid by his administrators, and his stock of boys and girls, slaves, in parentheses, but was brought to the hammer according to law. And in front of the courthouse, the sheriff acting as auctioneer. Jackets produced and offered for sale. It says the sheriff says, "Gentlemen." All right, so now this talking about the incidents of slavery, and it's a newspaper from 1846, and you about to just basically hear how like they used to try to sell us and stuff. And it says the sheriff says, "Gentlemen, the terms of sale are cash. I offer you this fine boy, Jack. He is warranted sound and in good health. He is docile and ingenious. He is of good disposition, is very devoted to his late master. Once saved his master's life while drowning at the risk of his own. Can't bear an abolitionist. A laugh. How much am I offer for the boy Jack? Jack, how old are you? I reckon I ain't finna read the rest of this, but I basically just want to show y'all that point right there. Basically around the part where he said he is of good disposition, is very devoted to his late master. Once saved his master's life without drowning at the risk of his own. And then it says, can't bear an abolitionist, a laugh. And so when I was reading that, hold on real quick. Yo. What you about to do? So what you finna do? I was doing this little video. I mean, if you're gonna be making noise, I'll just do it some other time though. I ain't gonna be making no noise, man. All right, cool. Probably you can learn something. But either way, my bad. That was my brother. He got me this little hotel room and stuff, so I ain't been sleeping outside and stuff. So, but yeah. As I was reading this though, I was also reading. As a matter of fact, I hit y'all with this already, and when I explained it, it was kind of dang. I just lost the page I was at. But when I explained it to y'all the first time, I kind of did it the best way I could, but I knew I was pushing it on one subject because I just didn't have a good example for it. But like I said, as I was reading this, it just made me think of it. I'm gonna go to Revelations 18 and 13. I ain't gonna read the whole thing, but basically it's talking about all the things that you won't find in Babylon once it's destroyed and torn down. And 18:13 says, and cinnamon and odors and ointments and fragrances and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Now, the first time when I was explaining this, I was basically talking about, you put on the dress and all that, that's selling your soul and all that. But like I said, as I was reading this, and it said, as very devoted to his late master, one saved his master's life while drowning at the risk of his own. Can't bear an abolitionist, a laugh. And I just started thinking, like, dang, as he was describing how to sell this enslaved man, Jack, that he was trying to sell in slavery, he wasn't just selling him, he was selling his soul. When you describe a person like this as very devoted to his late master, one saved his master's life while drowning at the risk of his own. Can't bear an abolitionist, a laugh, and people actually laughing like, "Oh, we got a good one. Like we made us a good slave here." They not just selling him; they selling his soul. And so, like I said, I really ain't want to go back and forth about all this about us being the real Israelites and all that or not. But like I said, as I was reading that, that's like you cannot deny that right there. Like people could probably say, see, this is what they doing. We say with the Israelites, they say, well, everybody was slaves and da 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 da. Well, man, they know one nobody in slavery like we were. But either way, and it talks about enslaves in the souls of men in Revelations 18. This is exactly what that's talking about. When you sitting here describing a settler man saying, "Oh yeah, if you drowning, he'll save your life," and he can't stand abolitionists and people laughing. They know that they not laughing for no reason, and he's so, I don't want to say infiltrated, but he's so much. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he was probably born into slavery, so he's so embedded in this enslavement that he do all these things. He still risked his life to save his master's life. Like I said, I ain't agreeing with that. I mean, even though the Bible, like I said, it does say, if your enemy is hungry, give them food to eat, and if they thirsty, and water to drink. We supposed to be nice to our enemies, but either way, like I said, Jesus ain't never say die for him, especially risking your life for him. And so the fact that they mentioned this to sell him off is just showing you that like they weren't selling just a man, they were selling his soul. You see what I'm saying? And so, like I was saying on my Twitter too, I really ain't want to go in on this lady too much with everything she was saying. But when she started talking like it's a net positive for what happened over the for things to be the way they are now, it's like back then they sold us and sold our slaves with sold our souls with us. But it's like nowadays you can sell your own soul just by a line. As a matter of fact, Amy, let me just take y'all into it real quick. So I was finna get into it, explaining it by my understanding, but the Bible says lean not on your own understanding, but on the understanding of God. And so this same lady, she aligns with Donald Trump. All right, just because I'm saying Donald Trump don't mean Joe Biden good. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get into that too, because the Bible tells us about all this. But she aligns with Donald Trump. All right. And if you black, so-called black, you shouldn't need nobody to tell you why you shouldn't be aligning with Donald Trump. But since she did, let's just look at how God views Donald Trump. All right. Hold on, I'm almost done. It says, I'm gonna go to Matthew 21 and 25. And this is Jesus talking. And they basically asking him, how are you doing all these things? By what power are you doing these things? I'm gonna start at 25. And then Jesus said, the baptism of John, whence was it from? Whence was it? From heaven or of men? And they reason with themselves, saying, if we shall say from heaven, he will say unto us, why did ye not then believe him? But if we shall say of men, we fear the people, for all hold John as a prophet. And they answered Jesus and said, we cannot tell. He said unto them, neither tell I you by what authority I do these things. But what think ye? A certain man had 2 sons. He came to the first and said, son, go work today in my vineyard. He answered and said, I will not. But afterward he repented and went. And he came to the second and said likewise. And he answered and said, I go, sir, and went not. Which of them twine did the will of his father? They say unto him, the first. Jesus said unto them, verily I say unto you, the publicans and the harlots go into the kingdom of God before you. All right, now pay attention. This is what I'm getting to it real quick, talking about Donald Trump. Hold on, I think this is it. Because this is another part I want to go to too. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this up at 32. For John came unto you in a way of righteousness, and ye believed him not, but the publicans and the harlots believed him. And ye, when ye had seen it, repented not afterward, that ye might believe him. Here another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about and digged a winepress in it and built a tower and let it out to the husbandman and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandman that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husband took his servants and beat one and killed another and stoned another. Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But the last of all, he sent unto them his son, saying, they will reverence my son. But when thy husband saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him and cast him out of the vineyard and slew him. When the Lord, therefore, the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? All right. And so keep that in mind real quick. So I'm finna since I want to get back to John, but I also want to tie Donald Trump into all this to show just how you can sell, not really how you can sell your soul, but when the Bible speaks about them selling the souls of men, it was definitely talking about us. And nowadays, you can, I won't say you can sell your soul, but God ain't got your soul, then the devil got it. Because if God ain't got it, then who does? All right. But I'm gonna go right here real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna go to Matthew 14 real quick, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it says, at that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus. He said unto his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him, and put him in the prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude because they count him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before him and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being instructed of her mother, give me here John Baptist's head in the charger. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him in meat, he commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in the charger and given to the damsel. And she brought it to her mother. All right, and I'm gonna end right there. Because we just read what they did to John the Baptist. Right here, when Jesus talking about the parable, he's talking about what all they done to the servants before he sent his son. He said, what you think he gonna do? What you think the master of the vineyard gonna do to them when he come back? All right. And so I'm gonna go to Esther real quick to just tie all this in real quick and make it make sense and just not be too long with it because it ain't even gotta be that long. Hold on, let me get to Esther real quick. All right. I'm gonna go to Esther. I'm gonna go to Esther 7. And they said, and this matter of fact, before I get into it, let me give a little bit of background about it. Basically, it's this guy Haman. I forget what tribe, not tribe, but what tribe and ethnicity he from. But basically, he not of the Israelites. And what he was trying to do is he was trying to get us murdered back then. Like he wanted a decree signed like at a certain day that all the people of the land was gonna kill us, the Israelites. And I don't know. I mean, I got to go back and read it, but he should have known that Queen. He should have known that Queen Esther was married to the king. Hold on, real quick. He should have known that Esther was married to the king, and that she being an Israelite, she was probably gonna have some say in this. But like I said, I gotta go back and read this because maybe it was something to it. I'm coming up on it now in Second Kings, but it's been a minute since I've been in it. But either way, I'm gonna start at Esther 7. And it says, so the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said unto Esther on the second day of the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther, and shall be granted thee? And what is thy request? And it shall be performed even to half of the kingdom. I remember, like I was telling y'all back in I was showing y'all them examples of connecting the old with the new. This ain't really a parable connecting the Old Testament with the New Testament. But if you go back to John 14, since we are making this connection anyway, when the king for his birthday, when his daughter-in-law, I think it was his daughter-in-law, when she pleased him when she was dancing, what did he tell her? He told her, hold on, let me go to the verse real quick. Hold on, real quick. Oh man, it ain't in Matthew. It might be in Luke. But all right, whatever. I ain't gonna find it in Matthew, but if you find it in Luke or Mark, I don't think it's in John. It's either in Luke or Mark. When you find it in Luke or Mark, basically, because I thought they said it right here in Matthew, but it doesn't. But what the king said, I mean, I'm probably wasting time explaining this anyway. But like I said, since we connecting the old with the new, and and showing this anyway, I just want to show it. You probably find this in Luke or Mark, but what he said was, whatever you want, I give you up to half the kingdom. And now look, we're dealing with a similar situation. And what did the king say to Esther? He said, what is that request? In 7 verse 2. He said, and it shall be performed even to half of the kingdom. And like I said, go to Mark or Luke, what Herodias is explaining this to his daughter or daughter-in-law. He basically saying the same thing. Up to half the kingdom, ask me, and I give it to thee. And what did Esther ask? Then Esther, the queen, answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given at my petition and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people to be destroyed. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is the wicked Haman. Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. But either way, I ain't finna read all the rest of this. Let me just go back to not back, but let me just skip forward to it. I'm gonna just go to verse 10 real quick. And it says, so they hanged Haman on the gallows that he prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. All right. And so, like I was saying, just connecting the old with the new, you got two women who asked two kings for two things. You got the woman in the New Testament asking Herodias for the head of John the Baptist. And then you got a righteous woman in the Old Testament, Esther, the queen, asking the king at that time for the head of Haman. And so they both got their heads taken. John the Baptist got his head taken, but we shouldn't have had his head taken. And then Haman, he got hanged on the gallows, and they did what they did with him, and we know that should have happened to him. And so we go back to that parable, and where it's saying in Matthew 21, And when Jesus asked him in verse 24, he said, I also will ask you one thing, which if you tell me, I and likewise, by what authority I'll do these things. The baptism of John once was of men. Then we go down to verse 40. And then he says, when the Lord therefore the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? And so, my bad, what I was supposed to be doing this time, Donald Trump taught us anyway. So, old girl keep want to, speak bad about her people, talking about it was net positive what happened to our people over there and all that. Basically, especially with us being the Israelites, but it was back in the 90s. It was I don't think I told you about this before, but a lot of us know about it anyway. But it was the Central Park fire that went on in New York. It was a group of black men who got falsely accused of raping a white woman. And during that time, Donald Trump was vocal about it. He said that he wanted those black men killed, or those Israelite men killed, who was accused of doing whatever they said they did, of the rape and all that. And so you look forward into 20 whenever when he was running for the president, he wanted those innocent black men back then to get accused, to get innocently murdered for something that they didn't do. And then you look forward, like I said, whenever he's running for president, he said he just walk up and grab women, by their private parts and all that. And so when we looking at this, and we're looking at Haman getting his head taken and John the Baptist getting his head put in the charger for the for Herodias's sake of the oath. When we look at that going on, we look at when Jesus asked, what then would the master of the vineyard do to those evil servants when he come? And you look at our people who want to associate with Donald Trump, who wanted us dead back then for the same thing he doing now. God asks, what would a master of that vineyard do to those evil servants when he come back? So when we talking about selling our souls in Revelation 18 of having our souls sold for us with our bodies in slavery, you put it all together, looking at your soul can be sold. All right, back then, like I said, they used to sell it for us. But nowadays, you can kind of sell your soul, and saying that the slaughter of your people that went on was a net positive for you to have the few little gadgets you got today. It's somewhat like you selling your soul, especially when you aligning with Donald Trump, who we know when the master of the vineyard come back, he's gonna do to those evil servants what they wanted or what they had done to those righteous servants back then, as we see in the case of John the Baptist and with Haman, who got his head taken off for wrongfully going against the people of God, which would be us. And so, like I said, I don't want to make this too long, but yeah, and I got to put that link in the description too, so y'all can see what I'm talking about, because y'all gonna be amazed when y'all read this stuff. Like, I was just looking up a whole bunch of old stuff, and I'm glad I came across that, because, like I said, a lot of people try to keep denying that we the real people of God, but it's like the more and more evidence you find, it's like, you don't even really need the evidence. It's like in your mind, you should know. Like it ain't no question about it. But just going back to Revelation 18, though, talking about the souls of men being sold in Babylon. These are our souls that God was talking about. Laughing at a man saying that he can't stand the abolitionists and that he'll risk his life to save yours, knowing that he shouldn't. They know that they ain't just got him, they got his soul sold into slavery as well. And so when you associate with them type of people, you giving your soul over to them. All right, and it's really more I wanted to get into, but whatever, I don't think I need to. It is some other lessons, but I'm gonna just keep reading, because every time right now I'm in like I said, I'm in Second Kings, but every time I turn the page, it's like I'm seeing something else I can add to it. So I might get this other lesson out today, but if I don't, I'll try to get in there whenever I can. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to hit on today, just talking about the souls in. Like, it ain't no denying that we the Israelites of the Bible. Like it's just that simple. They sold our souls in this country. People still selling their souls today, just with their mindset. So, your mind, your body, and your soul is connected. So, but either way, like I said, I ain't finna be in here too long. I'm trying to think if I had anything else, because it has been a while since I've been up on here, but I can't really think of nothing right now besides the next lessons that I want to do. So either way, I mean, if I do, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just explain a little bit, whatever. If I post it on Twitter, the link to the video. But like I said, let me go ahead and end this video because I ain't really talking about nothing else. I'm out.